Live from MMA Fighting Studios, this is Between the Links. And now, your host, Mike Heck.
The iconic voice of Esther Lynn welcomes you to a brand new edition of BTL. Happy Thursday to us all. We got a lot going on in the wonderful and wacky world of mixed martial arts. And we have a fun matchup for you on the program today. So without further ado, let us introduce the participants first. You know him, you'll love him. The hot take kid, Mr. No Gray Area, the man who will just climb. He will fall down. He'll climb again. He'll fall back down, and he'll just keep on climbing from MMAfighting.com. Jed Bashir, what's up, buddy?
You did just remind me I need to build climb graphics for this week, so thank you. I forgot to do that. So, hey everybody, excited to be back. We have sad things to talk about, and I guess we're going to talk about them.
Do you want to reveal your climb bet yet, or?
Yeah, my climb bets. I revealed my climb bet on the live watch party for UFC 319. It was always gonna be Zhang Mingyang, and it is Zhang Mingyang. Like he's gonna win this weekend. Though I do think that fight is like, as I looked into it, it's a little more competitive than probably like I thought originally. But still. It was at this point, it was too fun to do it. I'd already said it. I have to be a man of my word.
Yeah. Dude, I can't remember what happened yesterday. You're asking me to remember something that happened 5 days ago, which is funny because that's what we're going to be doing today. But joining us, making his BTL debut, the third member of the Morning Combat team to appear on the show, MK's gambling guru, the one and only Long Island Luke. Luke, welcome to the show.
Go. Thank you for having me, guys. I appreciate it. I already was telling you guys pre-show, I'm ready to argue to the death with Jed. I don't even care if I don't believe in it morally. I'm winning the argument with the lawyer today. Let's go.
I love this attitude. This should be a very fun matchup.
Oh, you think so, do you? Because those degrees right there would say something different, bro.
You're going to have to give me that degree after this episode when I win. So
No, that degree cost me $100,000. I ain't giving it to a fucking soul.
I'll take the honorary degree then.
There you go. Well, guys, let's begin with how UFC 319 ended. And I know this might hurt Jed Bashu a little bit, but Khamzat Chimaev is the new middleweight champion. He defeats Strickland du Plessis in a fight that was not close. It was not competitive. And the results become kind of a polarizing topic, Long Island Luke, because this performance was dominant. Nobody expected this type of one-way traffic over 25 minutes. People expected if Khamzat were to win, it would have been quick, round or two, we're out of here. This was bell to bell, 25 minutes of an ass whooping outside of one moment for Strickland du Plessis where he got full mount and maybe something could have happened, but it didn't. It was super impressive. However, as you've probably seen, the fans are booing in the arena. The fans who were not in the arena were not very happy with it. And a lot of people are saying, yeah, he won, but it was incredibly boring. And Khamzat has taken a little bit of a beating. So Luke, and I want you to share your work here. Fill in the blank. Khamzat Chimaev's championship win at UFC 319 was blank.
I said this on MK. I'm going to use the word dominant. And I'll say that because, yeah, it might have been boring, dude, but he dominated the fight. I know Luke Thomas wanted to say he was just using controlling position. He wasn't actually like working to get any offense. And sure, that's true. But it's almost like the Islam Makhachev thing. If I'm the best wrestler in the world and I'm going against someone, I'm going to use the best thing I'm good at. I'm going to use my wrestling. If you can't hang with my wrestling, that's on you, bro. That's on DDP. Jed, that's on your boy. All right? He should have been better at defending the wrestling. It's not Khamzat's fault that that's the best path to victory. Granted, like, okay, this is almost as if Justin Gaethje or Terrence McKinney, who I think are the two most exciting fighters in the UFC, went into a fight and just wrestled for 25 minutes. Yeah, we'd all be a little disappointed. Like, dude, what the fuck? I expected you to stand in there, bang, put on a performance. But at the end of the day, the man just won his first title. He's getting the safest win. He's also like trying to save his cardio through 5 rounds. I get it. I think the fans being a little upset need to slow their roll. But at the end of the day, it was a dominant performance. I'm sticking with the word dominant.
Jed, Chimaev's win was blank, and your reaction to Luke just putting it all on your boy Dricus du Plessis. You're muted.
I was trying not to interrupt Long Island Luke with his terrible takes, with my guffaws and coughs of derision. My one word, heartbreaking. It was just sad. You watched it. You were there. We were in the room together at the watch party, and I was just sad because it was never in doubt. Other than that, like one moment, which would have been truly the greatest moment in the history of this sport, if Dricus had just face cranked him like at the very, very end of the fight. But it was just like, I don't think for other people it was sad, but for me, the number one DDP guy, almost instantaneously, it was like, well, this isn't going great. And it never went good. The whole narrative of like, I wrote about it this week. Is Khamzat boring? I don't think we should call Khamzat boring because this was one boring fight. And it was a boring fight. If you're trying to tell me that this wasn't a boring fight, get the F out of here. Like, I got to tell you, it didn't bother me that this fight was uninteresting. I was way more perturbed by the sheer volume of like professional fist fighters coming out here to be like, y'all don't know what you're watching, fucking losers. You're not real fans. No, man, it's an entertainment sport, and we can call them like we see them. Balls and strikes, baby. That fight was not interesting. Nobody in the world said that it wasn't a dominant performance, and most people were not like, Khamzat should do more or should have done more, right? Like, yeah, it is on Dricus du Plessis to create a few more scrambles. That being said, I've been pretty consistent with this position in my entire career. Yeah, it is on Dricus to do that. But you know what Dricus's punishment is? He lost. His punishment for that is taking the loss. Khamzat also didn't do anything, right? Like, Luke Thomas is not wrong in that Khamzat prioritized safety over everything, which got him a W, totally fine. But like, you also still have to kind of take your lumps if that's what you're going to do, because this is not a sport. We say it all the time. This is the entertainment industry. And for all of his career up until Saturday night, Khamzat didn't give a fuck about safety. Like, he just came out and he dummied people. And Dricus was super safe, and Khamzat was like, okay, I am comfortable winning this way. Nothing big picture wrong with that, but you do have to like acknowledge you could have done more. Like, he got in the crucifix 4 times and he never hurt him. I've never seen someone be in a crucifix for a total of like 12 minutes and cause no damage. Like, that's not, and it is because of a choice he made, and that choice may or may not have led to him winning, but he's got to wear that piece of it, and we don't have to pretend that that was a super fun thing to watch.
So, Jed, I want to go back to you because one of the things that I was actually kind of fascinated with once the aura of the fight wore off and the result was, how is Dana White going to react to this? Is he going to approach this in a super positive way and put Khamzat over? Or are we going to get the wasn't a barn burner type of answer from Dana White? And Dana White's put it over big time. And I was listening to Ray Longo on Anik and Florian, and Ray Longo had basically asked, like, what if that was Jose Aldo who put on a performance in a title fight like that? Would Dana have treated it the same way? Because, like I said, we've seen Dana react to Merab title wins and just be like, yeah, it wasn't great. Bilal winning the belt wasn't a barn burner. So is this just Khamzat being a star and we're going to put over anything he does? Because Longo's question is a good one. How would Dana White would have reacted if that was Jose Aldo putting out a performance like this, or Arman Sarukian winning a title with a performance like that? Do you think it's the same reaction, or do you think Dana's slamming it a little bit?
Dude, you didn't even say the best example, which would be Movsar Evloev. We've seen Movsar Evloev have good fights and Dana be like, that was boring and sucked. You know, like, it's 100%. And like I said it on the watch party, I was like, dude, he's going to put Khamzat over. And to some extent, Khamzat deserves to be put over. Again, I'm not trying to crucify him unless we're talking about crucify him in the way he crucified DDP, where like I lightly ping him for doing bad, but no real damage is done to him, then that's fine. That's a totally great crucifying for him, and an appropriate one. Like, he's had one bad fight in his career, and it was the one he won the title in, and that bad fight was dominant. So we don't have to throw the baby out with the bathwater. This was an example of Dana being a good promoter, which sometimes he does accidentally. But no, if this was Movsar, absolutely not. If this was Jose Aldo, John Anik would have been on the call being like, this guy sucks. He might actually be the 5th greatest featherweight of all time. He can't even finish this jackass. Like, it's just part of how narratives are spun in this industry. And if he does this 4 more times, absolutely, like, you got to start really holding his feet to the fire. But like, to me, the biggest part of the whole narrative is a statement, not of this fight. It is a statement of this fight's broader reach, because this was, I think, the biggest fight of the year. We'll never know pay-per-view numbers ever again, but like, this was one of the few events this year that really, I got a lot of people talking about it to me outside of the fight world. The Barstool push, like, seemed to get, like, people who don't follow fighting were like, hey, is that Chechen dude just going to win because he's from Chechnya, so I assume he's bad? Like, people were texting me that. Khamzat is over, and this got broad appeal outside of the little fight bubble. And when those people come to a fight event and they are pitched something, you yourself, Mike, a take that I kind of agreed with, like, this is going to be the fight of the year. These people were sold that this is going to be incredible. And instead, it was super not. And so this is not mostly hardcore fans flipping out about this. This is the broader public, thinking they're going to get a good time and getting a snoozer, because that just is what it is. And that's okay. But Dana should put him over. He's probably going to be champ for a while, so you should put that guy over.
Were you surprised by how Dana reacted to this, Luke, compared to Merab wins, Bilal wins, Movsar wins, etc.? Done similar things. You could argue the Movsar win over Arnold Allen was a much more fun fight than this one.
100%. I mean, Dana will be the first guy to shit on anyone who has a boring performance. This has to be just, we need a star in the UFC, and Khamzat is our guy. Let me just brush this under the rug, say it was great, and then we'll move on to the next fight. I don't know, like, who else they have that they're going to put this push behind. You just mentioned Merab, Bilal, Evloev. These are guys that, like, with the exception of Evloev, two champions in Bilal and Merab that, like, had almost no push behind them the entire time. Merab's getting a little momentum now because he finished O'Malley. If he doesn't get a finish there, they're shitting on that last performance at Prudential Center just the same. Like, I don't know, dude. I feel like this, first of all, I want to say that Khamzat is just like, people are like, oh, he's not a finisher now. This is boring. This is whatever. Who is beating him in this division? Even if he does put on his exciting style or his boring style, I feel like even Fluffy, who I'd argue probably has the best chance to beat him, is like, I don't even give Fluffy a chance against this guy. And it's pretty disappointing because I feel like middleweight just went from one of the most exciting divisions with all these up and coming contenders to now, like, dude, I'm not even looking forward to the next title fight. Who's he? Who cares? He's going to face Kyle Bohalio or Nasruddin Imavov and run right through him. Like, I don't know about you guys. I'm just, middleweight's dead. Middleweight is dead. Write it down.
Wow. Middleweight is dead.
Yes.
Do you agree with this, Jed? Middleweight is dead? That is a statement.
It's certainly a bold take. No, I think middleweight's fun because, yeah, I think Khamzat's going to win for a while, but I've thought a lot of things that were wrong. That's why they fight fights, Like, I know that everyone in the current modern age of fandom, they don't need to see fist fights. These guys are the best guys, right? And, like, I don't need to see Ilia Topuria beat any of the other featherweights in the world. He beat 2 of them, and he's the best probably that's ever been. It's just like, I think Khamzat's going to win. I will pick him against everybody that he fights. But fight him. Prove it. The test of greatness is not what I think will happen. It's you doing the shit, right? And so, like, everybody thought Robert Whittaker was going to beat DDP, and then he didn't. Like, I am interested because also, for as dominant as that was, for as nigh untouchable as Khamzat has looked in his UFC career, the fact remains, like, we still kind of don't know a lot about him, right? Like, we know that he is among the best hammers I've seen in a generation. I have no idea what he looks like as a nail. He's never looked like a nail before. And if somebody can do that, and that's what happens in the sport, you give all the fighters in the world months and years on end to prepare for you, to build specific game plans, to see one tick of yours, and suddenly you are Alexa Grasso and you notice that when Valentina Shevchenko spins, you can just jump on her back and choke her ass out. That could happen to him. And so middleweight's not dead at all. We just got a new champion who's got, literally, there are 4 people. If you booked him against tomorrow, I would be like, yes, sign me up. That's high level mixed martial arts. Middleweight is just fine. Luke is crazy.
Who are those 4 people? I could think of maybe 3. Who are those?
Fluffy, RDR, Kyle Bahalio, Nasruddin Imavov, the 4 people in the Grand Prix. If I would pick him over anyone, but if the test of a good fight is, well, would I pick him over anyone? Then fuck, every weight class is dead because I'd pick every champion over all their contenders. That is a dumb way to view shit.
No, dude, a featherweight fight gets booked today. You might not pick Volk. Let's be real.
Okay, so I'm sorry, I wouldn't pick Volk. We're going to talk about that in a bit. Featherweight's the one good weight class because the guy holding the belt might not be the best. That's an insane way to view things. This dude has fought 3 fucking middleweights. In his whole life, he's fought 3 middleweights. And you're like, division's dead. He's going to beat them all. That's
order in the court.
Man.
You're yelling too much in the court. You should know this from law school. All I'm saying, dude, is Nasruddin Imavov versus Chimaev, if they book that today, fans are like, really? That's what we're getting?
No, fans are in because it's Chimaev.
After that performance, I think majority of fans are out. I don't think that's right to say, but I do think the momentum is not in his favor. Now, you put him in a boring matchup against the least popular guy of those 4. I don't think...
This is just one of the more ludicrous takes I've ever heard.
I'm trying to argue against
the brand new champion who is one of the biggest stars in the sport has killed the weight class before one title. That is just absolutely insane take.
It's not his fault. He's good, dude. If Islam,
he's fought 3 middleweights in his entire life, and one of them's Gerald goddamn Mearshart. Come on.
Yeah, but he also finished him in 13 seconds, so...
It's Gerald Mearshart.
Yeah, nobody puts Gerald out.
Mikhail Alexeychuk killed him in a minute. That's not...
Took him a lot longer.
What are we talking about? That a weight class that got the champion people have wanted for 5 years is dead and gone. There's an insane position.
There's an argument that, sure, there's fun new matchups now that you got a new champion. Great, but you've seen him run through the Whitakers of the world on the way up. There's no put that guy in.
Answer me this question. What do you care about as a fan? If fun new you just were they're fun new matchups. Fuck that. Who gives a shit? Why are you watching the sport?
I want to see the champion challenged, and if we go into a title fight,
they're fun new matchups. He's never fought those fucking guys before.
He's a -500 against.
Did you hate John Jones's entire career? Were you just fuck it, John Jones?
He wasn't a -500 every time.
This is an insane take. No. If all you want is I only want to see super fights, then I guess that's a way to be a fan.
No,
but
that's not what I said. That's not what I said. But now that you brought up super fights, we can go into that whole thing because the most interesting fight right now is if Khamzat can make 170 and Islam gets the belt and you do Islam Khamzat. That's the toughest fight for Khamzat right now. Jed's I can't even do this anymore.
I mean, yes, making 170 is the toughest fight for Khamzat. I agree.
All right, sure.
That's far more difficult than fighting for RDR.
Yes. Dude, all right. I mean, look, that was a spirited debate about the division, but Luke, I think there's somebody else who might disagree with your middleweight is dead take. Dricus du Plessis might disagree with that because, look, the UFC will be in absolutely no rush to throw him back in there with Khamzat Chimaev after this fight. So I'm curious. We're trying to revive this division in your eyes, Luke, and DDP is a big part of it. He's a fun part of it. Where does he go from this loss?
So I think this question more goes back to Khamzat in the sense that we know Khamzat is not fighting, at least in 2025. You're pushing that back at least 6 months. Now, let's say he gets a title defense in early 2026, which I think is being optimistic. It's putting him at least out another year till the second title defense. I'm bringing up the second title defense because the first should arguably either be the winner of Bohalio Imavov or the winner of RDR Fluffy. But where does that put the other winner for the next 12 months? Because they're going to be waiting in no man's land, waiting for Khamzat to come back around again. I think DDP, being the former champion, having a couple title defenses, coming off of that loss, yeah, it was dominant. No one really wants to see the rematch. But I think DDP could kind of weasel his way here into fighting one of the winners of those two matchups. So, like, let's say they give the title shot to Bohalio after he beats Imavov. Obviously, I'm just imagining here. And let's say Fluffy beats RDR. Fluffy's not going to want to wait around for a calendar year. The man's getting older by the day. He's already been pretty active. He's already got, 8 straight wins at middleweight? Like, fuck it. What's one more? I think you do Fluffy, DDP, or whoever wins that fight. DDP, I think, is still in a really good position here. Sure, that win then might not get him Khamzat again because of how dominant it was, but I still think like he's top 5 matchups still coming off of this loss.
Jed, DDP is your medium adult son. Heartbreaking loss, no doubt about it. We've seen lots of takes about DDP. Rampage is like, yeah, man, he's dead at middleweight. He should probably fight at welterweight right now. He should probably find a way to cut to 170 because he's cooked in this division right now with Khamzat being champion. So, I mean, just lots of wild takes going on here. But what's next for DDP after this loss?
Again, I don't think DDP can make welterweight, so he shouldn't do that. I know he did it, but that was a long time ago. That's a terrible idea. I do think he's kind of cooked right now, right? Like so long as Chimaev holds the belt, they're never booking that fight again, and they shouldn't. Like forever a DDP stan. I think if they fought again in a year or two, like maybe he has made some adjustments and the fight would be more competitive. If they fought 100 times, he's going to win a couple of them probably, but like that fight. That was a 50-41 fight. Like you never rebook that sort of matchup unless Dricus beats like 6 top dudes in a row. And that's a huge thing to ask. So as long as Khamzat has the belt, and according to Luke, he's going to hold the belt forever in a lifetime, and we shouldn't even fight the fight. So he really is.
He'll probably retire in 2 fights, so it's okay.
So yeah, like DDP is sort of in the like Max Holloway position. Or he could try and make a run at 205 if he just wanted to do it for, shits and gigs, because him versus Yuri would be terrific. But I think the plan for DDP, like if I was in DDP corner, I'd be like, all right, take some time off. Let's stick at middleweight for a little bit and let's get a couple of wins and see how the landscape shakes out. Because again, nobody has any idea of Khamzat Chimaev may lose his very first fight. No one's going to pick that, but it could happen. And if that does, then Dricus is right back in the mix. If Khamzat goes out there, let's say somehow Sean Strickland is the guy to beat Khamzat. He gets a couple of wins and, he's popular and he talks his way into a fight. So if I'm DDP or in his corner, hey, go back to the drawing board, fight the best guys you can fight at this weight class and sort of go from there. And I do the one thing Luke said thus far on the program that I agree with. I think one of the winners of these 2 upcoming fights is very possible for him. Not certain it will happen because if I'm the not chosen winner, right? Like if let's say Imavov and RDR win, I don't know if I'd want to give up a potential backup spot to take a really hard fight against the former champion. Maybe time just requires it, but somebody in that mix makes a lot of sense. And that is a good, big, important win for Dricus. So he's not totally cooked, but it's not a great position when you lose like that.
Well, that is the main event of UFC 319. Other things happen, especially in the co-main event. We'll talk about that next, but the point for round 1 goes to I love what Luke did there, but it's Jed. 1-0. Well done.
I want to be clear, that Crucify line's some of my best work ever, and that
Yeah.
came right off the top of my head.
The law degree
I
came
was-
out there. I could tell.
Yeah. I also, you having the mic muted hurt you badly, but then boy, you came back in a big way.
Came alive.
And made it happen with the crucifix sign. So Jed, we'll stick with you here. Let's talk about Lerone Murphy, the man who stole the show in Chicago at UFC 319, spinning back elbows Aaron Pico into the land of wind and ghosts. Absolutely insane. And now it appears he could be the guy to challenge Alexander Volkanovski for the UFC featherweight title. Jed, your reaction, and you're probably the perfect person to ask this now that we've had some days to digest this. Your reaction to how quickly Lerone Murphy was able to change the trajectory of his career, how fans view him, and on top of that, regardless of what happens to the co-main event on Saturday, is he the 100% next guy for Volkanovski after this win?
Honestly, for as impressive as Khamzat's performance was, Lerone Murphy shifting his narrative in the span of 3 minutes and some odd seconds might be the most impressive thing that happened on Saturday because, and again, can speak sort of to the volatility of the sport. Heading into that event, I don't know the number of dollars it would take to convince me that leaving it, people would think Khamzat is boring and Lerone Murphy is the second coming, but it would have been a lot of them. It would have that would have been a preposterous thing to suggest. And then Saturday night at 2 a.m. in the morning, or I guess Sunday, 2 a.m. in the morning, it was like, that's kind of the vibe people had. Full credit to Lerone Murphy, right? Like he took it, he stepped in on relatively short notice to accept this fight. Could have been a tough fight. I want to say early on he was having some trouble, but it was so the fight was so short that that's not even really fair to say. And then he blew up Aaron Pico and now may get a title fight, which is triply impressive when you consider that Aaron Pico is not ranked in our rankings. I don't believe, maybe he is. I'm not sure if he's ranked in our rankings, but certainly wasn't ranked in the UFC rankings. So he's going to get a win and very possibly a title fight over a guy like Movsar Evloev, who's the most deserving human being alive for a title shot. And I think it's 80-20 that he does get it at this point. Outside of Volk stood up and took notice, called him out for December. Murphy was like, I'm in. Dana White seems to already be behind this. The momentum is there. And a few months ago, Lerone Murphy had no momentum, none whatsoever. He had gotten the win over Josh Emmett, but he's having to again, try and dictate to fans what they should and shouldn't enjoy, which is always a failed effort of actually, that was a clinical performance and y'all are just losers because I'm really good. Okay, be interesting. Buddy, that's how you be interesting. 319 is how you be interesting. That's how you get title fights and not get, stuck in the Leon Edwards, I have to win 27 fights in a row to get there. So an incredibly impressive performance, an incredibly impressive turnaround for sort of a recent trajectory of his career. And I didn't ask this. If he does end up getting it, he's got a really good chance to take the belt. He's got a really good chance against Volk.
Boy, what a watch party that's going to be in December if Lerone Murphy ends the year as featherweight champion. It's going to be pretty intense. Luke, your reaction to what Lerone Murphy did, because like Jed said, he was one of them for sure. A lot of people were just yeah, Lerone's in the Bilal, Leon, Merab territory. He's going to have to win 12 fights in a row. A lot of people thought Aaron Pico was just going to go out there and run his ass over and get a title shot himself. And Lerone Murphy's nah, not doing that today. Knocks out Aaron Pico. Your reaction to what he did, and is he 100% next for Volk, in your opinion?
I mean, dude, it was so impressive. And I was the one saying that, I don't even care how Lerone Murphy wins this fight. He could get the most impressive finish, and he's still going to have to fight Movsar Evloev next, because I didn't think the UFC was going to do him any favors after this fight. The fact that Volk is calling for it, and the fact that Dana is also yeah, I don't mind it, is what? I didn't see this coming. He definitely deserves it. 9 straight wins, and you're coming off of one of the best finishes of the year so far. But if I'm Lerone Murphy, I am hounding the shit out of my manager until September 13th, being get this done. We need this booked. Because if John Silva goes out there and murks Diego Lopez, they are booking Diego Lopez versus Volk the next day. You already know that. Also, maybe a little biased here, but my boy Aljo fights this weekend. If he puts on an impressive, it'd probably have to be a finish. Let's be real. If he goes out there and finishes Brian Ortega, maybe something as spectacular as this, you can't tell me you wouldn't love to see Aljo versus Volk. I mean, that would be pretty exciting. I don't know about you guys, but I do think Lerone should be next, but there's these two curveballs out there that I'd be worried about. I think he's got to book that in the next 3 weeks. Otherwise, he could be screwed here.
Yeah, I mean, maybe Aljo does something super impressive and changes the narrative. It's got to be tough, though. Even Aljo's kind of like in that mindset, knowing, hey, probably going to have to wait for the winner at best. But Jed, I want to go back to you. Let's talk about Aaron Pico and what comes from this, because it's clear he is a supremely talented guy. He looked good in the fight until he didn't. Great skills, but the overall experience in big fight situation is just not there. I mean, you can make an argument he's probably a guy who has been mishandled his entire career. I mean, how many times on these shows, Jed, have I said, what is Aaron Pico's best win? And boy, do we have to dig deep to find it. And now he's on the receiving end of another highlight reel knockout, a scary knockout. And this is the third time he has been knocked out like this, Jed, and he's only 28 years old. Not a good thing. So if you're matchmaking for Aaron Pico right now, you debut on a pay-per-view in the co-main event spot against a top 10 guy, and you lose like that, where does he go now? How would you do it?
He needs, and I say this with some reticence because this is still a camp that invokes a lot of adoration, and I even like several of the coaches there. He needs to leave Jackson Wink. It's just, he needs something new. He needs a whole new look, interpretation, viewpoint on how he should compete, what his skill sets are, the way he should go about fighting. And like, maybe the guys at Jackson Wink are telling him to do something different and he's just going out there and doing it. But like, he doesn't have any concept of defense, which is pretty tough for every fighter other than Brian Ortega. And Brian Ortega only gets away with it because he is made of adamantium. And I got to tell you, the results are in. Aaron Pico is not built out of fucking mithril. Like, he can be cracked, and the way he competes is just putting himself in the line of fire without concern for his well-being, and that doesn't work. And we're talking about a guy who clearly has like the composite skills that are incredible, but he has struggled to put them together in a, like, we've seen it, but it's always come against somebody just vastly inferior to him. And that is a real, like, you got to figure out a way to work on that. And honestly, I think the best way is just like, you have to adopt a new style. You have to figure out a way to fight differently. And that probably means just going to a new camp, because it's not working at Jackson Wink. Like, your career is not working there. And so I don't know what, ATT is just like the easiest answer because they have all the fighters that exist. But like, honestly, go to AKA, like go for that sort of a look. Like, you have the wrestling pedigree, and Javier Mendez has proven to be really good, like really, really good at teaching, primarily grapplers, not just striking, but specifically like how to be defensive on the feet in a way that Pico desperately needs. So like, if I was Pico's, friend or whatever, I'd be like, hey man, call up Javi. See if you can work out, with some of the Dagestanis over there and kind of build a better game than what you got going, because it's all the potential in the world. And he has some of that. I also think just comes from the way the formative years of his career went, and the cake was baked in a lot of ways, but he's still young enough to salvage this. And I don't want to totally burn him down. Lerone Murphy may well be the next featherweight champion. Losing, that's an explicable loss, but it's starting to feel like he's the problem, and not that he's limited, but that he is approaching this maybe not in the ideal way.
Luke, from a matchmaking perspective, I don't think you can really go wrong here, because again, his Bellator career was kind of mishandled, right? Like, going from Zach Freeman and then just kind of building up from there. The back-to-back knockout losses, like he was probably like a minus 1,000 favorite against every single guy he fought moving forward. These are just one-way traffic type matchups, and there's not a lot of growth that comes from those. Like Justin Gonzalez to me was a good win because Justin was a guy I watched it fight for LFA and on the regional scene, and like that to me, 15-0 guy, like that was a solid victory for Aaron Pico. But he's in the UFC now. Like, do we do what we do with Pitbull and throw him Dan Ige, who could very much knock him out the same way Lerone Murphy did? Or do we give him Muhammad Yahya so he can go out there and knock him down 9 times and get a finish and build his confidence that we can kind of build him back up from there because he's only 28? Like, how do we do this?
I'm glad you said the Pitbull thing, because I was going to suggest exactly that. You went too high. You gave him Lerone Murphy. You gave him a top 5 guy. You gave him arguably the next champion. He emphatically finished him. First of all, he's got to take at least a year off. Get my man some fucking NyQuil. Take a step back, dude. Because Jed was saying, you guys were saying he's 28 years old. Like, come back at 30. I don't even care. You're still in the prime of your career at 30. Take some years off. Come back. Let's see you against the Dan Ige or whoever is the featherweight gatekeeper, for lack of a better term, at that time. See where he's at. You can't just give these Bellator guys, I don't care who they are coming in, what accolades they had. You can't just give them a top 5 matchup to start and then try and figure it out from there. Give them a borderline top 15 matchup to start. And when they emphatically run through that person, then you go, oh, now we can step them up. Or when they lose that, you go, oh, this guy was never that great anyway. I think if Pico got Ige to begin with, we're having a completely different conversation today. I'm not saying he would have won, lost, whatever. I don't know what would have happened. I'm just saying I blame this more on Lerone Murphy being so good than I do Pico being completely shot. And Jed was saying, like, for how short the fight was, it almost looked like Pico was looking good in the beginning. I know Jed said he didn't really think that much, but I kind of thought that. I was like, I bet on Lerone Murphy, and I was like, shit, man, Pico might win this fight. And then, Lerone lands the bomb of all bombs. So, if I'm Pico, man, just take a step back, take a year off, get your mentally back together, and then take a step back in competition as well.
Yeah, man, it's a lot of time off. He was just off 18 months. And now he's back. Okay. Like, that's 2 fights in like 3 years.
Don't take a step back in competition either. Like, your whole career has mostly been you fighting shit competition. Like, you don't have to fight a top 5 dude, but like, you need to be, you got to not fight whatever the Gonzalez is that he fought are. Like, you got to fight people with Wikipedia pages.
Sure. I meant step back on UFC level, which is probably, champion level in Bellator, so.
I mean, would you would you do like a Yusuf Zalal? Would you do?
No, I think Yusuf's a bad matchup for him.
Feely? Actually, Feely's like the right. I think Feely's like the right fight. Known guy, veteran, can be great, but can also look bad, and he could create a highlight reel one way or the other. I don't mind a Feely one. I think Cater might be like a good last chance kind of fight. I don't know.
I would love, but I would hate if Cater had to lose that, because what is that, like 5 in a row then if Cater loses
6.
that? So yeah, so I don't love that for Cater, but it'd be a good test for Pico.
He's going to be real interesting to keep an eye on here with his UFC run. So let us move on, everybody, because the UFC is heading to Shanghai on Saturday. The point for round 2 goes to...
I'm trying to think who he should fight. I'm going to give it a Luke. It's fine.
Long Island Luke. Nicely done. It's 1-1. We are all tied up. I suggested on to the next one, do Muhammad Yahya. Like, just get him a win. Like, get him a win. And even
what happens
like,
when,
I suggested, like, Jack Jenkins. I was like, if he beats Jack Jenkins, that is the best win of his career by a lot. So
for sure, Jack Jenkins is a legend.
Yeah, and Jack's booked anyway, so that wouldn't work. But I don't know. I think you just got to get this kid a win and just let him build his confidence a little bit. I don't care how you do it. I mean, you could basically start over with this guy and just like build him up from scratch, which is nice. So especially a supremely talented fighter like that. So yes, UFC Shanghai, we got ourselves a fight night in front of an audience super early on the East Coast, 3 a.m. prelims on Saturday, 6 p.m. main card, the main event, Zhang Mingyang taking on Johnny Walker. We also have a 5-round co-main event between former bantamweight champion Aljamain Sterling against Brian Ortega, the multi-time title challenger. Some other fights on here as well. Luke, excitement levels for UFC Shanghai. How are we feeling about this one?
All right, a 1 to 10 level. I mean, I'm going to give it an optimistic 7. And I'll give it that 7 because it's an early morning card. Yeah, it's a little too early for my liking, but like, I'm not going to bitch at the end of the day if I'm done with UFC coverage by 10 a.m. Eastern time. That sounds pretty damn good to me. There's 3 fun fights at the top of the card. I'd argue there's even more like sneaky good prelims in there. I'm talking about Inner G versus Loner Kavanaugh. That sounds like a fun fight. Miguel Pereira versus Kyle Daukaus. That's a fun fight. I'm getting up early. I'm doing a full card watch along for this. So I'll be up at 3 a.m. for it. I got to argue that it's a good card. Mentioned the top 3 fights. Sergey Pavlovich versus Salsa Boy. I mean, Salsa Boy arguably lost his last fight, did get the nod going against Pavlovich, who I think has lost 2 straight. Or no, he's coming off of a win over Jairzinho, lost 2 straight before that. Either way, is Pavlovich coming or going? Is Salsa Boy coming or going? Is this going to be, 6 in a row for him now? That'd be crazy. Already mentioned my boy Aljo needs to get a big win here. Johnny Walker in the main event, probably a showcase fight for Mingyang, but, Johnny Walker's probably going to get knocked out. Really funny. We can all laugh about the highlight. You got to give it a 7. It's a solid 7.
Jed, a 7 from Luke. Are you as high on this one?
No. My proprietary scoring system, as you can see right here, this has 4 fights above replacement level. I do like that this is so early. We were actually talking about this on like a meeting this week that there's like a small piece of me, I'm not working the event on Saturday, that's like jealous that, to Luke's point, you can be done working by noon on a Saturday. That's so rare. And then we get next Saturday off because Misfits is Friday, I think, right? Anyway, whatever. It's like the rare back-to-back Saturday evenings as a MMA fan that you can just sort of do whatever you want. So like there's that piece of it. And I do think that the top end of this, like I said, there are 4 fights above replacement level on this card that I'm very interested in. And there's like some smattering of other stuff, but like we've got a bunch of road to UFC champs on here. Like we've got, there are 5 fighters training out of the same gym. That is just like the Chinese gym, I guess, or whatever, the Shanghai gym. And so it feels a little regionally. This feels Bellator-y is what this card feels like, where they would go to a region and be like, we're going to load up the prelims and then have a few fights that other people will care about. Those fights are interesting. I'm going to wake up at 7 a.m. I'll wake up earlier than that, but I'm going to tune in for the main card of this. But, 4 farts. It is a 4 fart card, which isn't terrible, but it's not amazing.
We mentioned the main event. We got Zhang Mingyang, 3-0 Jed in the UFC, 3 performance bonuses, 3 first-round knockouts. He spent about 8 minutes of total octagon time in there. Just knocked out Anthony Smith, put a sad end to the Anthony Smith career, and the fairy tale ending was not to be for Lionheart.
The legend Anthony Smith. Get it right.
Yes. Much like Aaron Pico, Jed, Zhang is 28 years old in a division that needs excitement big time. I mean, light heavyweight is poo-poo outside of like 3 or 4 fighters, and Mingyang Zhang can cement himself in a really good spot here. So I'm curious, with the state of this division, we got a championship rematch coming up at UFC 320. We also have Khalil Roundtree versus Yuri Prochazka on that card. We have, even before that at Perth, we get Dominic Reyes versus Carlos Ulberg at a big fight at 205 in the main event there. What is at stake for Zhang Mingyang and Johnny Walker, more so on the Zhang side on Saturday?
I mean, if Zhang wins this one, like in the UFC rankings, he's going to go up like 2 spots. He won't go up. Even if he blows Walker up and gets another first-round stoppage performance bonus, he won't like vault up the UFC rankings, but he will vault up the UFC star board. That's a bad way to phrase it, but like he will the UFC will look at him and be like, okay, this is the dude. This is the guy to at least be an interesting addition to the title mix. Maybe he doesn't get there, right? Knocking out Johnny Walker does not a champion make, though Margot Ankalaev did it and became champion. But like this is, even if it doesn't feel like a huge step up, Johnny Walker is, the best opponent Zhang will have faced. And so if he can just come in here and kill him and, do it in China, kind of get over in that way. His next fight's a title eliminator. I don't know who that title eliminator comes against because light heavyweight is so kind of up in the air right now. But like his next fight is, I think most people, certainly I think that the Yuri Khalil fight is probably a title eliminator at 205. And so, maybe his next fight is just Carlos Ulberg. Or is Ulberg booked?
Yeah, he's fighting Dominic Reyes.
Oh, I forgot the Dominic Reyes thing was still happening. Okay, well, when he wins the most boring decision you've ever seen against Dominic Reyes, he'll fight Carlos Ulberg next, and that'll be a title eliminator or something akin to that, Don't give him Jan Blachowicz. I mean, give him Jan Blachowicz if you actually want to see what he is as a prospect. Don't give him Jan Blachowicz if you're trying to get this guy into a fist fight for a belt. But he'll get like a top 5 name if he beats Johnny Walker.
How dare you say this about Dominic Reyes, the guy who's going to fight for the belt again. He's going to do what no one expected. It's all worked out. The seeds I've been planting for so long, it's coming to fruition, Jed. Dominic Reyes is going to fight for a belt in 2026, and it's going to be glorious.
It would be an incredible story.
It sure would. But all kidding aside, and I'm not really joking, Luke, do you agree? Like, what is at stake here for Zhang and even Johnny Walker, who's been brutally KO'd in his last 2 fights?
I think for Johnny Walker, there's a little more at stake here. Obviously, Zhang is still young enough that like a loss doesn't really ruin his career per se. It's light heavyweight. He can come back. I think if Johnny Walker gets finished here, is that the end of like Johnny Walker headlining, Apex or Fight Night cards? Probably, right? I don't know if he has much name value after that, besides just getting knocked out, funnily. There's a matchup we forgot to mention too in this top 10 that just got booked, and it's Mirzakhanov versus Rakic. Like that's another now making this division even deeper. I do feel like Mingyang might need 1 or 2, maybe even after this. And I'd argue that Yuri Khalil fight might not be the number 1 contender fight, just because if Poatan wins, I don't think we want to see him fight Yuri for a 3rd time. Yeah, we could see the Khalil fight again, but truthfully, I don't really care about that. I think Dom Carlos is more likely the next title challenger. So maybe Mingyang fight the loser of one of those 2 fights, someone in the top 8-ish to get him a little closer to title contention. But I definitely think more at stake here for Johnny Walker. And if he gets a win too, dude, now, I mean, a bunch could happen. I don't even want to go into the possibilities if Johnny Walker wins, but there's a lot on the table for him if he gets it done.
Yeah, I think, the UFC, it will publicly say like we're rooting for one thing or the other, but I think there's a part of him that's like, God, we want Zhang to win this fight and look real good because then we can keep coming back here and putting him in big spots and go from there. Now, Luke, as far as we kind of touched on this a little bit with the Lerone Murphy topic, Aljamain Sterling, Brian Ortega, big one at 145 pounds. I talked to both guys already. Aljo is stunned that this is 5 rounds. He has no idea why it's 5 rounds. He's a little pissed off about it because he's getting 3-round pay for 5 rounds of fighting. And Brian Ortega doesn't give a shit. He's just like, yeah, I think we're making the same amount of money and cool. Now the fight like definitely won't be boring. I mean, they're both managed by the same manager, which is kind of interesting as well. But look, featherweight's in a weird spot. Both guys recognize it. The last time both guys fought, Ilia Topuria was still officially the featherweight champion. He's not even in the division anymore. He's now the lightweight champion. Volk is now the featherweight champion again. What's on the line for these guys, Aljamain Sterling and Brian Ortega, in a potential 25-minute matchup?
All right. So like I said earlier, I'd argue a finish for Aljo could get him a title shot. I think that's obviously a little unrealistic. So more realistically, I think if Ortega wins, man, he's just floating in that top 5 still. He's still got to be at least 1 win away from a title shot for me. Like, all right, he's coming off a win off Yair, loses to Diego, then you're going to beat Aljo. I don't think that deserves a title shot. You still got Movsar up there. You got John Silva, Diego Lopez. There's too many other things going on in the division. if you're Aljo and you get a win here, again, let's say it's not emphatic. Let's say it's a 5-round unanimous decision. Fuck, man. He's kind of in no man's land too, because he already fought Movsar, so they're not going to book that again. Maybe if Diego loses to John Silva, they give him Diego, but both guys are at least probably winning this fight and another win after it away from a title shot. And like, does anyone want to see Volk Ortega too? That fight was a lot of fun, but I just feel like it's past its expiration date. I think it would have been a lot more fun like 2-3 years ago than it is right now.
Jed, what say you? What are these guys fighting for on Saturday?
One away. Winner of this is one away at featherweight. Aljo, former champ, he's 1-1 up the weight class. If he beats Brian Ortega, who, hold on, I'm going to look at the UFC rankings right now. Brian Ortega is number 5 in the UFC rankings, so he'll move into a top 5 position in the UFC rankings. And that functionally means he is one away from getting there, even could get there if something happens to Lerone Murphy and Movsar Evloev and Yair Rodriguez, who apparently is in title conversation, which is absolutely ludicrous. But yeah, the winner, like if Aljo wins, he's probably going to fight Yair, right? Like that's a different matchup. We don't need to do that with Ortega if he wins. If Ortega wins, I don't know. We'll get some weird speech about the eagle rebirth of life, and he'll talk about maybe going to lightweight. Well, remember that? Remember when he was just going to go to lightweight and then didn't do it? And honestly, that kind of would have been a good career move for him. So he'll fight somebody. Like he'll probably fight Movsar. If Ortega wins, he probably is the guy who fights Movsar. But either way, a win in a 5-round fight like this, big spot, big position, it give their next fight's a title eliminator.
I wonder what happens to Sterling if he loses. I don't think they'll like cut him or anything, but does Sterling look in the mirror and just say like, yeah, I'm done. I don't need to do this anymore. I mean, he's been saying for a while, like he knows he's at the end of the line and each fight could be his last. He's not really sure what's going on. He's got the rum business, which is taking up a lot of his time right now and is starting to really take off. Like if he goes out and loses a 49-46 to Brian Ortega and has 2 straight losses in a new division, like Sterling doesn't strike me as the guy who's going to stick around and fight the next wave of featherweight. You know what I mean? I don't see Sterling wanting to stick around and be the Neil Magny of the featherweight division. I don't know. So I think that's kind of an interesting wrinkle to this fight as well. But speaking of interesting wrinkles, a lot of interesting things have happened over the last few days. We're going to discuss via the news and notes. Point for round 3 goes to Luke, 2-1.
You can see my degree already. I'll start clearing space on the wall over here. It'll be all right.
You got 150 grand, you could have it.
Well, we added an extra 50? I thought it was 100.
I think it was actually like 120 something. Right. It was more than 100, but less than 2.
All right.
Once that new UFC deal kicks in, I'll get some of that to you.
Yeah, perhaps
because it's going to trickle down naturally.
Yeah. Nah, man, you ain't got to do that. Just go join Power Slap. They make, and I quote, shitloads per Dana
That's
White.
true. Most watched sport in the world. So
yes,
there you go.
If you're a bodybuilder, stop being a bodybuilder. Go do Power Slap. You can make shitloads.
Yes.
Okay.
Apparently, one of the Power Slappers, at least according to one of my colleagues on the Slack channel, tested positive for meth.
Sure did. Terrific stuff.
All right.
Yes.
Fan.
I mean, Power Slap, just the sport of kings. Jesus friggin' Christ. Speaking of the sport of kings, once upon a time, it was the sport of boxing. And boy, oh boy, Jed Bashu, some news dropped yesterday. The real sport of kings. Jake Paul is not fighting Anthony Joshua. Gervonta Davis is not fighting Roach. Jake Paul is fighting Gervonta Davis in an exhibition bout in November on Netflix. I think one of the funniest things about this whole reporting thing is Mike Coppinger reports that it's happening November 15th. And then, I talked to some reps from MVP, and then Nikisa comes out and is like, it's funny how these guys have sources and then they get it wrong. And all they got wrong was the date was off by a day.
Also, it kind of wasn't even off by a day. It's just it was like a time zone thing.
Yeah,
was
it was
ludicrous.
just super weird, but the fight is true, and it's happening in your backyard, Jed. We know what you're going to be doing about a week
2
before
miles from my
Thanksgiving,
place.
but your reaction: Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis, back in November, back on Netflix. What are we thinking here? This is pretty wild.
I had so many thoughts. My first thought was, this is objectively hilarious. Like, this is just one of the funnier things that's ever happened. You don't have to like Jake Paul. You need to respect him, not as like a combat sports athlete, but as just a world-class shit eater, you know, just unbelievable to be like, I am going to fight Anthony Joshua. People want me to fight a real boxer. And former heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua. I'm a fist fight him. Whoopsies. The talks fell through. Guess I'll fight Gervonta Davis. He's a real boxer. 4-division world champion. What did he weigh in last time he fought? 135 pounds, and I fought at 200 pounds. And it's not even, it's an exhibition, which like, I guess probably has to be because they're not going to weigh remotely near each other come fight night or whatever. But I mean, just absolute world-class shit eating from Jake Paul here. Marginally interested, right? Like Casey made this point on Twitter, and it was one of the things I thought of. Like, we recently did a like best freak show fights, and you know, this is certainly in that vein because there's absolutely a world where Gervonta Davis comes out here and dusts up Jake Paul's no boxing ass like me playing Manny Pacquiao in Fight Night up at heavyweight for shits and giggles in 2007 or whatever. Like, it is very possible that Jake Paul like has to fight a real boxer and suddenly just is getting tuned up, despite the fact that he will outweigh him by 60 pounds at least on Fight Night. So like, those are the two things. Is like, this is hilarious. I don't want to say I'm into it because like I'm not in that regard, but like, world-class trolling, and you have to respect it. The worst part about this is that, you know, Jake Paul is fighting a dude who got arrested for a DV incident like a month ago. I know charges were ultimately dropped, but still, like, you could have picked some other boxer who was 60 pounds smaller than you and has a big name. But, you know, Gervonta out here doing what he's going to do. It's all ludicrous. And the whole bait and switch with Anthony Joshua is just one of the funnier things I've seen this year.
Luke, what do you think about this? This is silly goosery at its finest, but millions of people are going to watch this thing happen.
I hate everything about it, and more so than I've hated any other Jake Paul fight. And not that I've been into any of them, but I've at least humored them. I've at least watched them, whatever. Like, even the Tyson fight, I was like, yeah, I'll watch that, whatever. I know Jake's going to win, but I'll watch it. Dude, this is just like, okay, first of all, I think the lowest Jake's ever weighed in for a boxing match was 185. You just mentioned Tank fights at 135. So this is like if Khamzat Chimaev fought Merab. Like, this is what we're getting here. And like, you might be like, oh, they're both good at wrestling. That'd be a good match. I forget how good they are at wrestling. This is a boxing match. An 85er versus 35er. Are we joking here? Also, the biggest loser of this entire thing is Lamont Roach Jr. The man fucking beat Tank in the first fight. Yeah, it was a draw, but if anyone watched that fight, Tank fucking got his hair wiped in the middle. It was took a knee. I mean, it was complete fuckery.
A lot of cheating.
A lot of cheating. Tank definitely should have been disqualified. That fight literally should have been a win for Roach. Roach rightfully going to get the rematch. And now Tank's like, yo, fuck that. I'm going to go fight Jake Paul. Like, just the stupidest thing ever. Also, like, we've all wanted to see Tank fight these big names. Teofimo, Devin Haney, I'm blanking on the third, Shakur. Like, these are names we would all love to see him fight. And now you're going to fight Jake Paul. It's like, why? This does nothing for anyone. It's so stupid.
What a time to be alive.
My one issue is likening this to Khamzat versus Merab. Khamzat is good at fighting. He's so good that you think middleweight should be closed down as a weight class. And Jake Paul is not. So this is like, who's that dipshit? Who's the dipshit guy who's real racist on Contender Series this week?
Josh Hawkins.
Yeah, that guy. It's like that guy fighting Merab. not even
Yeah.
Marab. Let's not call Gervonta Marab.
Yeah, Marab's too good to get. Yeah,
I say it's him fighting Figgy Smalls.
Yeah,
Bryce
I like
Mitchell.
that.
Yeah. Pretty crazy. Well, I mean, that fight's happening. And then up in Vancouver, Luke, that card is starting to come together. We have a main event we kind of touched on a little bit. Anthony Hernandez versus Reinier de Ridder, the main event for UFC Vancouver. We also got Kevin Holland versus Mike Malott on that card. Jazz Devisius versus Manon Fiorot. Cheeto Vera versus Ayman Zahabi. So that main card's coming together nicely. But a lot of people are wondering, will Khamzat turn around? Is RDR getting a title shot? Is Fluffy getting a title shot? How is this all going to work? Dana announces Fluffy RDR headlining UFC Vancouver and then immediately stated that the Nasruddin Imavov Caio Borralho fight, that ain't a number one contender fight. It's going to be a little round robin, and may the best performance win a title shot against Khamzat Chimaev. Your thoughts on UFC Vancouver as it stands right now?
I think it's a fun ass card. That main event is a banger. I feel like it's an interesting matchup. I do think Fluffy Hernandez, I mean, middleweight is dead. Let's be real, guys. We've already been over this, but I do think Fluffy Hernandez probably the second best fighter in that division right now outside of Khamzat Chimaev. So like, I'd like to see him fight RDR. RDR does have those knees to the body that are crazy. We have seen Fluffy finish to the body before. So like, it's an intriguing enough matchup. They're both good on the ground. They both like to take it to the ground. Like, I'm all in on that. Kevin Holland, Mike Malott, maybe a little like, how good is Mike Malott? Can he get over the Kevin Holland train? I know he had a lot of hype behind him. They've kind of like dulled down his matchmaking a bit. So this is like a nice little step up in competition. If you're Kevin Holland, I mean, it's at 170, dude. Let's get a win at 170. I know he just lost to D-Rod, but like, come on, you can come back. You get a win here. Cheeto Vera, Ayman Zahabi. It's okay. It's a fight. It's an okay fight. I mean, I guess both of those guys will benefit from winning that fight, but you know, nothing too crazy. Who'd you say Jasmine was fighting?
Manon Fiorot.
Manon Fiorot. Yeah, that's a good dude. That's an intriguing matchup. Big step up in competition for Jasmine. Fiorot needs another win to get in there. I mean, this is a good card, but you know, with middleweight being dead and all, it's kind of like, what are we doing here, guys? Just, you know, shut down the division, Jed.
I'm a huge fan at the Vera Ayman Zahabi. A win would be helpful for either man. It's like just like the most dismissive way to be like, it's a fight. And honestly, I feel it. Like, I get the vibe. It's not a bad fight. It's actually a pretty good fight. Ayman Zahabi is overachieved massively. Cheeto Vera is way more popular than his talent should make him. And so like, that's kind of an interesting contrast of sort of beings at this weight class, but I don't have any idea what to expect. Like, it's not like Ayman Zahabi is the highest work rate fighter in the world. And we all know Cheeto won't throw a punch for 17 minutes if you let him. So like, I don't like that fight. That fight could be anything. I could see Cheeto killing him. I could see Cheeto doing nothing. I have no idea. That fight it's interesting, maybe for bad reasons. The Jasmine Menoff fight is awesome. That fight bangs. I'm a huge fan of that fight because this is the fight that Jasmine can use to get she'll be a title challenger if she wins. And it is sort of just like, we need to see this kind of level of fight from her. I like the co-main event selfishly because Kevin Holland's on my fantasy team. And so I would like him. He should have won, but he's stupid. And now he at least gets another opportunity to score me some points. So I support that. And I even agree with Luke about the main event. I think Fluffy Hernandez is the second best middleweight in the world because the number one middleweight is named Reinier de Ridder. That's right, boys and girls. He is going to knee Fluffy right in his belly. Fluffy's going to fall over and die. And Dana's going to be like, look, I don't care that Caio Borralho just lit up Nasruddin Imavov. It's Khamzat versus RDR. And baby, let me tell you, I'm going to make so much money on RDR as a plus 800 underdog against Khamzat Chimaev. He is the man to end the tyranny of this long reigning middleweight champion who has cleaned out the division, all but for one man, Reinier de Ridder, the true number one middleweight in the world.
Jed, have you thought about how you might feel if DDP and RDR both lose in a span of like 3 months?
I'll take solace knowing that they will be booked against each other and that'll be okay. Right? Like, you can't hurt me. as long as that fight is still possible. It would be better if that fight was for the belt, but that's what's going to happen. They're going to fight for the belt next year after RDR takes it, and Dricus, like, I don't know, dummies Bahalio or some like real stupid, because his win is going to be a good win that's really dumb, because he'll be losing and then suddenly like he Dricus Nasruddin or whatever the hell it is, and then summer of next year RDR Dricus for the middleweight title.
That is a full circle moment. Last topic we will hit at the end of this round, because as Luke said, middleweight's dead now that Khamzat's champion, and perhaps one of the fighters that was competing at UFC 319 saw the writing on the wall and decided, you know what, I'm going to miss weight by 4 pounds and I'm just going to exit this division. I'm going to exit this organization because I know what's coming. Bryan Battle officially released from the UFC, first reported by MMAfighting.com. It's a terrific website. Jed, 4 pounds over, misses weight at welterweight, goes up to middleweight, misses weight again for his fight with Nursultan Rutsabayev. The fight is canceled, and Bryan Battle no longer on the UFC roster. Your reaction? Right move, wrong move? What do you think?
I think it's just the expected move, right? Like, they did this with Anthony Johnson when Rumble moved up to middleweight and blew it by like a lot too. It was worse than the Bryan Battle one. I think Johnson came in like damn near 200 pounds or something for the middleweight bout. And then they were just like, man, you got to go somewhere else. Like, we can't be doing this. This is it, right? Like, maybe if the fight had gone on and he had been impressive, he might have gotten another crack at it. But like, if you can't make the weight when you get bumped up, it's a you problem. Like, there's something else is going on outside of like, oh, I am trying to fight in a weight division I can't fight in. Bryan Battle can fight at middleweight. Like, there's no physiological reason he couldn't compete at that weight class. You know, like, arguably he couldn't really do it at welterweight, sure, but like that's a discipline problem. That's being a professional problem, and he wasn't. And so you should send him back. That doesn't mean you have to, blackball him forever, but he's clearly got something going on, and maybe he'll have a Rumble like effort and suddenly he'll be a 205er, and that weight class is terrible. So like, maybe he puts together some things and becomes like a guy who people care about outside of it. But I think it made all the sense in the world to cut him. Kind of surprised that I don't know if it took that long or if it just took the news, to get caught up. But like, I sort of anticipated like, oh, Bryan Battle fight is off, he's out of the promotion, to just be 1-2 immediate follow. But right call, figure it out, Pooh Bear. Go back to the PFL, the regionals, and get it together.
Luke, your thoughts about this? Were you surprised?
I mean, I wasn't surprised just because everyone was kind of murmuring about it all, day Friday when he missed weight. Like, oh, is he going to get cut on this? But, I think this is less about missing weight and more about being 7-1 in the UFC. That's the new curse to get cut from the promotion. It happened to Martin Budai. It happened to Bryan Battle. Who's the next 7-1 fighter? I'd be worried as hell if I was 7-1 in the UFC right now. Because realistically, there's guys, I think Bryan Battle's missed weight 3 times in his UFC career. There's guys who missed more than that. I mean, why are we going to cut him over this? I mean, no, in all honesty, it was a big fuck up, dude. How do you move up 15 pounds and then miss by 4 pounds after that? He also didn't seem that apologetic about it, which never rubs me the right way when it's like, damn, bro. Also, he claimed that Ruzhaboyev accepted the fight with the weight miss, then he took a nap, and when he woke up, he didn't accept it. Something tells me he was being, a little weird about it, and Ruzhaboyev's team didn't like the way he was going about it, and they were like, fuck it, we're not going to take this fight. So, I don't know. I think, again, being 7-1, probably the biggest risk in the UFC right now, but I guess it's warranted. I feel bad because I like Bryan Battle. I think he's a fun guy to watch, so I guess I'll have to tune into his PFL fights now. That's it.
I do want to bring up one more. I'll start with you, Luke. Noche UFC card that is not good. I mean, let's be honest. If we're comparing the 2025 Noche UFC to the last 2 years, not very good. Good main event, obviously. We got John Silva versus Diego Lopez. Some things have been added. We had Tatiana Suarez and Amanda Lemos on the card, but I think most people already know how that fight's going to go. Jared
Still a
Gordon,
good
Rafa
fight.
Garcia was probably like the third best fight on the card. Up until yesterday, it was made official. Raul Rosas Jr. is back. He's fighting Rob Font. I'm told this is supposed to be the co-main event. I am also told that this fight is not like 150% locked and loaded just yet. Probably going to happen. The UFC announced it, but this wouldn't be the first time the UFC has announced a fight that is not done. In fact, they did it with Montel Jackson versus Davis and Figueiredo as well. But your thoughts, man? Like, this is a big ass step up for Raul Rosas Jr., who is winning fights. He's had to work for a lot of them, and now he's fighting Rob Font, who loves to play spoiler.
I was just going to say that Rob Font is literally like, if you're a heavy favorite going into a fight against Rob Font, you're going to lose, because Rob Font loves cashing as a dog. First it was Kyler Phillips, then John Matsumoto in his last fight. Like, the guy, he's been cashing for me. I'm not going to go against Rob Font this time. I assume he'll still be a dog despite a big step up in competition. But dude, this is like Raul Rosas. I think we obviously rushed him a little bit. I mean, we gave him C-Rod. It's not like it was that much of a rush, but they kind of been slow rolling him since then. It's nice to see him get top 15 a little high in number 9, Rob Font. I mean, you could have gone maybe the aforementioned Kyler Phillips, someone in that 10 to 15 range, but it's an intriguing fight. I'll be excited for it. Can Rob Font play spoiler again? Is Raul Rosas good enough to be in the top 10 right now? And if he is, there's plenty of fun matchups for him there. So it's exciting. I'm into it.
What say you, Jed? Is this the right fight to make?
No, but I think for different reasons than, or at least for me, from what Luke said, because it's not just the fact that Rob Font is fairly high up. It's that this is a really winnable fight for Rosas. Got like tons of respect for Rob Font still hanging around at the top of this weight class. He's 38 years old. Like, that's old at bantamweight, you know? And so, like, he is on the last stretch of his good years, if he's not already in the decline. And he probably is, but he's credit to him. The fact that he is able to still kind of get these necessary wins when at times I was like, okay, the end is coming. So I don't like that they're giving him like a real chance to get this high. And like, Rob Font may be like slightly overinflated given like his age in this weight class, right? And so if he wins this fight, Raul Rosas Jr.'s next fight is not like a top 10 guy. It's like a top 5 guy for a title fight. So this is the path if you're trying to shoot him into legitimate title contention. And that feels a little quick to me. So yeah, I would have preferred like Marcus McGee coming off the Piotr Yan loss. Like, that would have been the fight I would have done. But, you know, maybe the UFC has decided it's time to pull the trigger on Raul Rosas Jr. and build him into something real. And it is by no means a guarantee he beats Rob Font. And if he loses to Rob Font, no harm, no foul. He lost to the number 9 guy in the world. So it makes sense. It's just not something I like. I would have comfortable giving him a ranked guy, but like I said, I think Marcus McGee would have made all this, like, would have been the perfect fit for me.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right about that. So we'll see what happens. Let us move on. The point for round 4 goes to Jed Bashu, 2-2. Well done. By the way, just kind of looking into it, I was looking for betting odds on Rob Font versus Raul Rosas Jr. Nothing
I looked.
Yet.
As he said, I was like, let's go see if they've dropped him. Had not.
Yeah.
Fluffy Hernandez minus 240 favorite against RDR already. That's
Man, I
pretty.
can't wait to make all that money on RDR.
Oh, so you're betting on Fluffy Hernandez? That's very, very
RDR
smart.
all day.
Somehow has dropped a spot in our middleweight rankings after that performance against Roman Dolidze. It's fucking insane. But 3 of us know what we're doing.
He
and 3 of us
dropped the spot. That's pretty
he dropped
wild.
the number 9. The 3
I guess
of us
because Khamzat bumped. Because Khamzat got bumped.
Yeah, but Khamzat wasn't like 11.
I assume in our rankings he was lower than Fluffy.
He beat Robert. He smushed Robert Whitaker. He's probably in the top 5.
I don't know. I know I didn't have it, but the only way it would make sense for Fluffy to drop is if Khamzat got bumped in front of him and wasn't before. That's wild though. That is
I'm
wild.
proud to say that 3 people got the Fluffy Hernandez thing right, and it just so happens to be the 3 people who are here. The 2 of us and Casey on the 1s and 2s nailed
Way to
it
go.
with Fluffy, but somehow the rest of the panel made him drop a spot. It's absolutely insane. But let's go to the knockout round, everybody. One question decides it all, and then the peeps will decide who wins. So, Jed, do you want to go first, or do you want to pass it off to Luke?
I'll go first. Sure, why not?
All right. Well, Jed, we've been waiting. We've been wondering. Wow, I'm all the way over there. What was going to happen with one Sean Strickland? People keep asking, when's he going to fight? Should he be the one fighting Fluffy Hernandez? Should he be the one fighting RDR? Where is he in the title picture? And you couldn't really fairly answer that question because we're wondering what his suspension would be for the Tough Enough incident back in June where he decided to jump into the cage and punch a dude who just won a fight multiple times. And we found out today what the suspension was. We thought it might be a year. We thought it might be more because, you can't just jump in a cage and start punching people. But Sean Strickland gets a 6-month suspension and a $5,000 fine. The suspension expires on December 29th as of right now, but Strickland can have that reduced to 4.5 months if he completes an anger management course approved by the commission. So, Jed, if you were Sean Strickland right now and you jumped into a cage and attacked a fighter who just won a fight and the Nevada Athletic Commission gave you 6 months, are you feeling like this is a win right now? Your reaction to this, 1 minute on the clock, go.
Well, you said if I'm Sean Strickland, so I have to put my mind in the mentality of Sean Strickland, who I have some level of affinity to more than others in the space, but would never claim that this is a man who's a fully rational actor. If I'm Sean Strickland, I feel like the wussification of America has made it so I can't punch a professional fighter in the face. Are you kidding? He's a professional fighter and he's a piece of shit because he did whatever he did. And so, like, grow up. I got punched in the face all the time growing up. And look, it made me a world champion. So this is just the softness of America coming through. $5,000, that's a lot of money for something that I don't deserve to be vilified over. If I'm not Sean Strickland, if I'm me, yeah, this is a slap on the wrist. I can fight in 4.5 months. Dope. All right, Israel Adesanya, we just found out our fight date. It's going to be in December as the co-main event to Volkanovski versus Lerone Murphy. Boom.
There you go. I got to tell you, I'll give my thoughts about this in a second. But Luke, yeah, big news. Sean Strickland, 6-month suspension, maybe 4.5, depending on what he does, and a $5,000 fine for, jumping into the cage and attacking another fighter after he won a fight. It's not bad. Right? 1 minute on the clock, go.
Not bad at all if you're Sean Strickland. I mean, I'm sure he would have got a few extra shots in there if he could, and I'm sure he would have taken a few extra months suspension. It would have all been worth it. I mean, dude, yeah, you can't get into the ring and fight another professional fighter, as Jed's saying, but I mean, dude, they were in a professional fight. Sean entered the ring and punched this man. He was making gestures at him. I mean, if I'm Sean, yeah, I want to say something to the guy, but you can't get in the fucking ring, man. Let's be real. So I think it's a slap on the wrist for sure. It should have been a year, dude. I think Sean Strickland probably has an in with the Nevada Athletic Commission, if we're being real. So I think he wooed his way through that. But to be real, it was honestly fucked up. If I'm just being me right now, that was fucked up, dude. You can't just get in there and punch it. I don't care what the fuck he's saying. Settle it in the gym like you claim you do every day, Sean. Challenge this man to a sparring contest. I know Nixick would love that shit. Let's get in the ring at Extreme Couture. Sean Strickland versus that guy whose name I already forgot from that promotion I already forgot. Let's go. Book it today.
His name is Luis Hernandez.
That's it.
Yep. Luis Hernandez probably will be a UFC fighter at some point. Dude's real good. And he didn't want Sean suspended at all. He didn't want any punishment. He was just like, dude, it's just guys being guys. Cut the shit. It happens. The emotions ran high. It's all good. I don't want any suspension. So I'm curious. I'll probably reach out and see what Luis thinks about this. But yeah, I got to tell you, I would take this suspension down to 90 days if we could live stream Sean Strickland going to anger management. I want to
so-
see this more than anything in the
He's not
world.
doing it.
I was thinking that. I didn't make that joke. One, slightly crass, and two, you're gonna get it is the thing, because he's gonna go and he's not gonna live stream it, but just follow his Twitter account, man, because I guarantee you in the next couple of months there's just gonna be like errant Sean Strickland tweets about being like, man, this country got so soft, I can't be angry anymore. And that's because he's gonna be sitting in a room with like a professional therapist being like, how, is anger helping solve your problems? No, you're here now because of anger or whatever. Like, you're gonna kind of get it.
It'd be like
Here's the thing
WWF
about
when they had Kane and Daniel Bryan like do anger management together as a tag team. It was just some of the funniest shit you will ever see in your entire life. It just would be must-watch television if TKO could put a camera in it and document it. I just think it would be unbelievable. So
They should have made him do a PSA.
oh my god, I'm still waiting for the Armin Sarukian one. That would be incredible too. I mean, that the PSA should absolutely be a part of all of it, and it should be released to the public. And boy, can you imagine what a Sean Strickland PSA would look like about not being angry? Lovely stuff. So cast your votes. Get him in here. Once you see Casey in his sleeveless shirt, more than likely, he'll announce the winner. We will have a preview show tomorrow for UFC Shanghai. Don't know who's on it. Don't know what time it's happening. So stay tuned to the MMA Fighting YouTube channel, and we'll let you know when and how that is all going down. There will be no People's Pre-Fight Show on Saturday. There's no effing way we're doing one at 2:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We love you so much, everybody, but that's just not happening. But we'll be up covering the event. We'll have a post-fight show, so get your coffee ready around 9 a.m. Saturday morning, and we'll recap everything you may have missed or watched with us. And then on to the next one on Sunday. No AK, might be riding solo for that one. And then it's on to Misfits Boxing 21 and Luke Rockhold versus Darren Till and Tony Ferguson and Salt Poppy and Dylan Dennis apparently gonna have an MMA fight.
I can know Sunday with you if you want.
All right, we might just do it Saturday.
I'm on, so I can do it. I cannot do it Saturday because
Yeah.
I'm not coming to work to do that. But I'm working Sunday, so I can know with you.
We'll see how it works out. Worst case, well, there's no. You know what? Maybe we'll just do that because there won't be an Otno next week because we're certainly not going to matchmake for Misfits Boxing. That's for sure. Casey is here, sleeveless shirt. Is that an Ngannou sleeveless shirt?
Roots
Okay.
of fight. Yeah, got some roots of fight
Oh, that's
hookups.
sick.
So yeah.
Shirt of a coward who ran away from the UFC. Interesting.
Yeah. Where
Didn't
Didn't
John
want the
Jones-
tough fights, huh?
Yeah.
What an asshole. Jake.
And I still got him ranked at number 1. I still believe.
Well, I mean, he's running out of. Man, was it
close.
October? It's
I think it
only
was
been a
October.
year.
He's fine. He's got so much time.
We're good.
Jesus Christ. I thought that was like 2 years ago he fought him for just seems
Feels
that
like
way.
a lifetime.
Really does. Casey, who won?
All right. It's a very close vote. But with 52% of the
Damn.
votes,
That is close.
your winner Jed Meshew.
Rigged.
Wow. Jed gets it done. What a battle.
That's
Unreal.
what's up. It's staying on the wall.
Cleared that wall space for nothing.
Staying on the wall. Right
Yeah, that thing
here.
is big.
We
Yeah, I think
played
it's
for
funny.
slips and I still got mine. That's right. Woo! Boom.
All right,
yeah, it's
Toretto.
actually enormous.
Uh,
In fact, Luke, it is gigantic.
That thing is fucking huge.
I did not really when it got framed, they went real big, but the diploma is like literally twice the size of my college diploma. It's gigantic.
That's awesome.
damn. Jed,
I want to
anything
thank
you
the
want to say
fans.
with just 30
I want
seconds.
to thank the voters. I want to thank myself. And I want to thank Khamzat Chimaev in the crucifix position because I'm pretty sure that is when I won this. And I'm feeling great about it. Feeling great about RDR becoming the next middleweight champion and saving this division that desperately needs to be saved from the tyranny of Khamzat Chimaev.
Luke, any final thoughts? before we let you go?
No, thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate everyone. I'll be doing a watch along for the card on Saturday. So if no one got you at 3 a.m., come join me. Main card minute. I'll be there. Appreciate y'all.
What an impressive man.
What a hero. The hero we
Someone's
never
gotta
knew
do
we
it.
needed, but we now have. So thank you, Long Island.
Does someone have to do it, Luke? Do they have
Yes.
to do it?
Yes, me. I feel I'm obliged to do it.
I mean, people would be okay if you started it for like the Charles Johnson Kavanaugh fight. Like that'd be a good start.
That fight rips.
You're right.
That
that's
is the
like
fourth
me getting
fight
up
of
at
the replacement fights.
4 a.m. anyway, so I might as well just get up at 3. You know, it's not a big deal.
All right. Well, catch Long Island Luke in his PJs and a coffee in
Luke-
hand. 3
Luke,
a.m.
have you given out all your parlays? Because
Yes,
I'm
the
on
gimmick
3
parlays
gimmick
are out.
parlays this week.
Oh, I got 12. I got 12 every week, Jed. So we got 12 gimmick parlays.
I'm on
every week.
3 of them this week. I'm very excited.
What you got? Which one?
The Inbo parlay, which is the 5 Inbo team
Five-legger, yeah.
fighters. The Road Champion parlay, which is
Oh, I
the
didn't do that
3 Road UFC champions. And then the Fun Hat parlay, because 2 of the fighters have fun hats. And
Dude.
so Urin Satibaldiev and Taya Liake, I can't, the hardest names
First
in the
fight
world
of the
to
night
pronounce.
and first fight on the main card.
Correct.
Yes.
So 3 gimmick. I'm doing so bad betting this year. I was like, I'm just gonna start having fun again. Bring back the gimmick parlays, and they're
betting's
3
all about.
available.
Let's go.
I love it. So follow Luke. Check out No Bets Barred. See how Jed's going to be betting on this card.
Follow Luke
Casey
for
hit the music.
sure. Luke has a new program.
Yes, new show out, prop quiz. 2 of your favorite MMA guests going head to head. New episode drops tomorrow with familiar faces that you guys probably, if you're watching this program, you definitely know. Casey, get that ugly 0-1 out of there. I don't want that shit up there. You know, I won this. You know, we all know I can't even point at it. It's all over the place. I hit
May
my
have won
mic.
that.
Oh God, we're out of here. We're out of here. Thank you, everyone.
You didn't
Hey, you
win
know-
this, baby.
You know who is going to win it? Me on Prop Quiz. Check it out. See you guys later. Good night, everybody.
Love y'all.
This has been Between the Links, an MMA fighting production on the Vox Media Network.